The Alpha Sessions.
Hi, I'm Kat, and I'm super excited to be here for today's Alpha Sessions as a guest host with Nandi55, welcoming her to the Alpha Sessions.
Yay, woo!
Super excited to pick your brain about music, get into your performancing and what music is to you.
Yes.
But first of all, I'll give you a little intro and then we can go into it. Our singer-songwriter here who leads with her heart and champions the beauty in being your full, authentic self. Is that a good sort of encapsulation?
That really is. That's absolutely
of what you're about?
Perfect. It really is. My goodness. Yeah, it's all about, for me, that journey to self-love and community and getting the bumps and bruises along the way, of course. But you know, that's life. Right?
So important. Before we get into it, though, I want to dig a little bit with your name.
Ooh,
Nandi55,
yes.
so unique.
Yes.
The 55 to me is like an angel number that I've heard of. But what is it to you? How did that come about?
Right. So it's been my nickname my whole life. My brother, big brother, always called me that. And it was based on, so my name Nandi, I'm named after Queen Nandi. I spent a lot of time in South Africa and got a chance to understand like more of Zulu culture. And that's what I'm named after. I'm American, but my father did a lot of studying of African cultures. And he was like, yeah, Queen Nandi, that would be. And so in doing more research on it, there's also a movie that's about her son, Shaka Zulu, this warrior, but her strength and how she raised him. And there's a scene in that movie where she's demanding 55 cattle and she's not backing down. And it's just such a big, huge moment. But when we were younger, very little, we saw that movie for the first time. And ever since then, my brother, because she got the 55 cattle is the point. So my brother ever since is always Nandi 55, you know, and as little kids. And so it just stuck because as I got older, the 55 reminded me to know your worth, ask for what you want, go after it. It was just all these positive things associated with that number for me. So I was like, I'm going to keep the 55.
It's a good number to have because as an angel number, it also represents change, growth, and spiritual awakening.
I love that.
Which I feel like fits you and your ethos and your music like perfectly.
Yes. That's amazing. I love that.
And also embracing your experiences and kind of going for it, even if you're a little bit nervous about it.
Yeah.
And I kind of get that feeling you're that kind of person.
You know, and they talk about manifestation, right? I mean, it's like, that's what this whole journey has been for me, just kind of going for it. And then people think that, oh, you just are doing things and you don't have any fear. But it's one of those, like, it's not quite where you're fearless. It's like courage, right? So even if I do have some fear, it's like, do it scared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's where you grow, right?
Exactly. You know, take the chance. Get out there. What do they say? Leap and the net will appear. I'm like, come on, net. I've leaped off this building.
Better be there.
Exactly.
So let's dial it back a little bit,
yeah.
Nandi, back to the beginning and how your music story began. Where did it begin? How did it begin for you?
Okay, so I've always loved music, and music was just a big thing in the house. My mom never went on to actually, you know, pursuing singing, but piano in the house. She played the piano, she sang. Her mother played the piano, sang, and so that music has always just been a big thing. But I never necessarily thought it would be a career. You know, that was the option because I was also filled with the family of, you know, educators and professional. You know, it's like
Of course.
So they wanted me to be a lawyer. That was the thing. A solicitor. That's the, and they even got me a mentor. I mean, it was supposed to be, this is what I'm doing. And, you know, even my mentor was like, if you want to be an artist. I don't think she was supposed to do that. And so I think just early on, I kind of have been just rebelling against kind of this, the stable job and the career that's supposed to be the thing that you're supposed to do. You know, I think it's scary for everyone especially when it's something that's about art, because there is no, you go A, B, C.
It's completely non-linear, isn't it?
There's
it's
no
unpredictable.
There's no real blueprint. And even if you studied someone's way of doing it, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be what's going to work for you, right? And so I know that was the fear behind it. I love that my family is so supportive now, but that was not always the case.
It's a process.
And so, you know, I can joke about it, laugh about it now, of course. But yeah, so I think, though, what it allowed me to do was put a lot of things in my tool belt. So,
well, it's all helpful. Even, lawyer stuff, solicitor stuff, that comes in handy even as a musician.
Exactly. And so, like, I never got there. Like, when I went to uni, it was, my mentor was like, you should do dance, you should do whatever you want, So at that point, after high school, it was like, and you guys call it secondary school, I already kind of just went left and was in theater and doing all these other things. And but education was still, so I actually designed my own major at university, and it was art and social change.
Oh, wow.
So how can I use art to change the world? That's kind of, the background. And so within that, you take educational classes, you take different history courses and all of that, and then along with the art.
And you're doing it with your music now.
That's, I feel like, edutainment. Right?
I love that. So we've got to acknowledge the American accent.
Oh, yes.
Born and raised in San Francisco Bay Area. Take us there. What was that like?
Yeah, oh my goodness. So for me, so this is, okay, so historically, that place is where all the revolutionaries were. So we're talking about women's rights, we're talking about, people of color rights, just all of everything you can think of just brewing. That's where my parents, that's when they met, that's when they, it was just like a whole, like the 60s, that was a thing. And so much art. So if you can imagine the rebellion with the art and so the babies and the babies and the babies and the babies, we still have that, like, that spirit of rebellion, that spirit of, being our authentic self, and, just loads of talent. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to be. So I love it. And I always say, people think when they think California, they just think Hollywood, they just think LA. And I'm like, no.
There's more.
Up north, there's a lot going on as far as community and, that sort of thing. And so that's what I was built in. So it wasn't just the LA can tend to be a little more flossy, I guess, and a little more glam. And I think you get a bit of more laid back, more community, more, connectivity up north a little bit more.
You talk about, being your authentic self, really embracing that. Was that something that you have always felt, or often for a lot of people it can be a process in itself, kind of discovering that? Do you feel that was sort of ingrained in you from the get-go, or something you had to sort of learn and practice?
Yes. And my name is Nandi, right? So I already starting off with big shoes to fill, named after the queen. And I mean, even still, they either, like, the Zulu culture, the way she's revered, it's like, so I've always had a sense of purpose and a sense of, just knowing that there was value in myself, and what I, should be in the world, something bigger. I always thought that, I always felt that, and that was instilled. What was tricky was navigating the outside world, because what tends to happen is that if not everyone is brought up that way to feel like, be your best, and, you're amazing, and, told all these affirmations, then you're around a lot of people that are struggling, that then look at you. It's almost like, how dare how dare you be proud of yourself?
People can find that quite intimidating.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to sort of lead in. Obviously, you came to London, different energy.
Yeah.
Here.
Absolutely.
Generally, to often more reserved in some ways, and don't always champion themselves.
No.
Because of that kind of British reserve. So what was that like in terms of bringing your music here and the energy that you bring? Was that challenging, or did you find that sort of embraced?
That's an amazing question, and that's so interesting. I am navigating that, and I think I'm learning how to it's important, I mean, it's to just breathe, to lay back a little bit and not, my energy tends to, and so it's nice to kind of have a bit of a balance. You guys being here has brought me a lot more balance for sure. But my husband laughs at me all the time, like the culture difference and how I'm just so like.
Well, they've made movies on it, haven't they? With the difference between the Brits and the Americans and the way of doing things.
Oh my God. And I know, like, we can definitely be a bit too much. But what I did want to make sure that I don't ever give up is that, like, belief in myself, and that not be kind of, and so we balance, even me and my husband, we balance each other, because I'm like, you're amazing. And he's just like,
Is he British then?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you have to deal with that on a daily.
On a daily basis, I do. And so, but he's an artist as well. So that's the whole thing with fine art, you know.
Yeah.
And so we're, you know, I'm constantly just trying to get out there, go ask, call, talk to, you know, and he's just like, So it's been very interesting. But I think more than not, I've been embraced. Mm-hmm. I think it's something about maybe just the difference and, you know, just having a different perspective. And so I haven't been met with, you know, like, oh, you know, it hasn't been that. It's actually been more open arms than I thought it would be. It's also, I guess,
gravitating to those people that will get you as well, isn't it? Finding your tribe, that kind of thing.
For sure.
You find the ones who share, not necessarily, you know, maybe everyone's forward and pursuing in that way.
Yeah.
But who appreciates that energy and is inspired by it rather than threatened.
Yeah, and I am very spiritual as well, though. So I think that's the tribe more than anything. First, finding people that have that understanding about, you know, manifesting what you want and you know, thinking positively about things, and so that it comes into your realm. I think finding those people here as well has been like a plus, because that's pretty much what it is. It's just like having a good attitude about it. It's like, you know, thinking of the glass half full as opposed to half empty. And I feel like that's been helping me a lot, to be fair.
It's a mindset, isn't it?
Yeah. And on my way here, I was thinking about someone and for a while going, I really need to DM them. I really need to. And in passing, he was like, hey. And I went, I'm supposed to DM you. Like, but that's the thing. It's like always kind of thinking about, you know, just, I don't know, things are going to work out.
Yeah.
I think that in the back of my head, that no matter what, it's going to work out.
Yeah, amazing.
And it helps you through, I think, you know.
100%. Now let's get to your music.
Okay, yes.
So your music, you describe it as blues, rock and hip hop. But I've got to say, you know, I've got to add soulful sass as well.
Okay, yes, I'll take it.
I think you bring it.
I'll take it. And I think it's still, what I should say is, it's early on in that I feel like I've been writing on some level my whole life, but this type of songwriting and really giving my, like, what I want to sound like. I think there were earlier versions that wasn't quite what I wanted, but there was producer, you know, pushing me in a different direction, and the group, you know, the circle was kind of going, no, I think maybe you should do this and you should sound like this and you should, and it was like, okay, this is not, it's not really my lane. And I feel like once I really started writing my own songs, then that's when the voice really started to come, you know, and of course there's influences, right? But I would say definitely blues, soul, and you'll hear more music as it comes out. You'll get the little bit of the rock, you'll get a little bit of the,
I think that leads us
Smorgasbord.
perfectly to take a little listen to your first song.
Yay!
And this is Through With Loving You.
Hey. All right. Hey. Listen, back when I in love with you, there was no wrong that you could do, even though everybody that I knew told me I should be through loving you, through loving you, through loving you. 11 months and 5 days it's been, and 2 hours, still no decision, and I don't know what to do about me and you, and I can't seem to choose. Oh, between my heart, my mind, my body, my soul, and I lost it all. You got total control, and I don't know what to do about me and you, and I can't seem to choose. Oh, but oh, back when I lied in love with you, there was no wrong that you could do. And even though everybody that I knew told me I should be through loving you, through loving you, through loving you. 11 months and 5 days it's been.
and 22 hours, still no decision, and I don't know what to do about me and you, and I can't seem to choose. Oh, between reality and the reality that you were never really the one for me, and I don't know what to do about me and you, and I can't seem to choose. Oh, back when I lied in love with you, there was no wrong that you could do. And even though everybody that I knew told me I should be through loving you, through loving you, through loving you. Hey, that's right. Hey. Back when I'm in love with you, there was no wrong that you can do. And even though everybody that I knew told me I should be through loving you, through loving you, through loving one more. Hey, back when I'm in love with you, there was no wrong that you can do. And even though everybody that I knew told me I should be through loving you, through loving you.
The Alpha Sessions.
So we just heard there Nandi55, Through With Loving You, an original song, nice little rocky edge, breakup song there. I love the lyrics as well. I love like the countdown, 11 months, 5 days kind of thing. Just makes it so relatable.
Yeah.
If you've been through a breakup, you know.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that song.
Yeah, and that it was kind of this merge of rock and blues for me, because a lot of the kind of modern, not modern, but classic blues songs are repetitive, right? They're just kind of like, oh, my baby, and it's kind of, and I was like, that was the mood I was in, but I was also like, so that's because it was a breakup song, but it was very much, when I write, I'm obviously writing from experiences that I've had, but also just observing friends and friends of friends, and just kind of going, wow, like there are times where we're in something and people are telling us, what are you doing? Like, why are you there? Like, what is happening? But you can't quite get out. And then for me, it was almost like the countdown of like, all right, now I know.
Gearing yourself up.
And
take that step.
I know now that this is not right, but I don't know. What am I, how do I get out is pretty much what's the through line behind it.
I think that's perhaps the most relatable thing about the song. It's that conflict where you're still loving that person, despite knowing they're no good for you.
Yes.
And not ready to take that leap, but like the countdown, you're getting ready to it, but not quite. But that's what makes it interesting. It's that moment of conflict and sort of indecision, and I think that's something universal. In like partnerships, breakup, but also generally in when you having to make that choice to let someone go from your life. It's not an easy decision.
No, it's not. It's not overnight in any way. It is a process. Yeah.
Performing is a big part of what you do.
Yeah.
And you've been very busy doing lots of cool little gigs and things like that. What's your favourite part about performing?
So I believe, for me, there's always that moment of like, right before you step onto the stage. But I'm so much in my head when I'm not performing that when I get a chance to perform, that's the most free that I ever am.
So you're able to be present, completely present when you're on stage.
I'm not thinking about, past, future. I'm right there in that moment, and it just feels... it's just the best feeling. There's just a couple of other places where I can feel like that, but the stage is definitely one of them. And so that's, and then the connection with people there, and them being present with me. yeah, it's unmatched. You know, it's so my background is in theater. So that feeling of there is no, all right, cut.
Take two. But that's because what I got from seeing your performance and stuff like that, it feels very, very present, and there is a spontaneity there. You know, even though I'm sure you sang that song quite a lot of times, it didn't feel that. Like it felt very now, and like you're talking directly to the listener.
Yeah.
And I really love that. I think that builds that connection as well. It makes it relatable, and it strengthens that connection that you have with your audience in that moment.
Yeah. It's important for me to be as vulnerable as possible. Sometimes when I'm writing, I'll actually go, okay, what what actually are you really trying to say? It's like make it very clear, make it plain, and it's like, sure, it can be poetic, but it needs to resonate in a way that's not too bumper stickery, right? Even when I'm hearing people do public speaking of any kind, it's like, no, really give the real, peel
the
back,
bones of it, right?
Peel
like
back the layers
it
and really give it to me, so that I'm really feeling something and I'm learning something, I'm growing, I'm having some sort of connection where I can relate to it, and so that's what I was trying to seek with everything really that I'm writing, and then in performing it's the same way. It's like I want for them to feel it, as much as possible, and so it's like give it to them every single time. It's not I don't believe in dialing it in or phoning it in, as they say.
So take me through your songwriting process. What is it that comes first? Is it, is it the melody? Is it a feeling? Is it a message that you want to portray, or can it differ between those? Or where does it start?
Right. So I'm not a musician, but I hear music. And so there's different ways that it happens. Sometimes I hear the music. I hear the guitar. I hear, the drums would, okay, and then and now I'm hearing the music in my head, and then I write to what's in my head. Okay. And then there's other times where I'm just walking around and something like a lyric will come to me, and I'm like, or somebody will say something, it'll spark something, and I'm like, I need to, and so I, on my phone, just type, to myself, like, note to self, like, this will be a good song.
Voice notes are very helpful, very helpful for that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I go about it. I know I can't force it. So because I used to, I tried that way before.
It doesn't work. That is also something I found as an artist. Some of the best songs, I think, come out of you when you take that pressure off and you just allow them to kind of blossom and emerge.
I think when it's forced, it becomes the very thing I don't want to do, which is the cliches, which is the, superficial, which is and this is no judgment. It's like right now it's going around on Instagram. We listen and we don't judge. So there's no judgment.
But
it's how people process
your music, the music that you want to share.
I don't want it to just be, I needed to go deeper, and that's who I am as a person too. By the way, like friendship groups, even they're like, we can't, if Nandi asks how you,
digging
they're like, if she asks how we're doing, we
asking
can't
the
just
why
say,
and the why and the why.
we're fine. We're just, are you? So I'm just that. I'm incapable really of like small talk. I want to know what's going on.
So listen to Nandi's songs, Nandi55 songs. You get to know Nandi.
Yes.
As a person.
Yes. Or just what I'm thinking about and observing the world, to be fair. So it's not like there's a couple of songs I haven't performed. So it's one song that's called Hold On that I've wrote before, and it's about single mother. Wasn't my experience, but there were people around me that I was seeing going through things, and so I definitely write observational as well, not always just experience, but it's still to the gut of it,
And when it comes to your songs, has there been a song that you've written that has been challenging in terms of the vulnerability that you've had to share, or that has been quite difficult, where you've wondered, should I allow this to come out in my songs? Has there been a challenge like that yet?
The only thing that's happening to me right now is that I have not been able to get the song about my father out. I haven't been able to do it yet, but it's coming. But I find,
Percolating.
yes, but I find every time I go to write it, it's just really, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. So that's one that I'm just thinking of at the top of my head that I'm like, I really want to do that. There's a couple of songs out there that I love. So, for instance, Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. Oh, my goodness. Just the gut and pain and also freedom and hope that just all the things you feel when you hear that song. But she has, something in there where she's talking about her father. And I'm just like, I want to get to that point where I can actually write this song. It'll get there. I might be still just a little too close to it. Sometimes that happens.
It takes time
too.
though, and also after you got to go perform it as well, and that can be challenging itself because, especially if from a real vulnerable, raw place, and you are the sort of artist that's what it's about for you. You got to be ready for that. It takes time.
Yeah, and then just to put that into context, so I lost my dad, but he. The best way to describe it was a friend saying when he passed away, like, wow, what I remember about your dad was that he just loved being a dad, right? That's the biggest compliment you could probably even, and I'm like, and he really did, and so there's so many, but he was a complicated man, so there's all these layers, and so that's why it's just, I'll get there. And that's what I mean when I say, when I write, I want it to be something real, I want it to be art.
Let's talk a little bit more. You've mentioned Tracy Chapman, a little bit more on your influences.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about, the standout artist, or maybe it's in other realms, in other mediums that have really pushed you forward or inspired you in your music.
Very interesting. So all the arts feed me, right? And so I think when I raised in Oakland, which is San Francisco Bay Area, and I moved to New York as well, and I spent some time there, and there was a lot of learning how to do different types of art and letting all those different arts feed into what you're doing. And so, I have tons of influences. Musically, though, Tina Turner is my...
Oh, my goodness. She's one of my top ones. I 100% behind you. What is it about Tina, then? I know my reasons, but why Tina for you?
So there's a personal thing of when I was little, a friend of mine who, that she knew very early on, I'm going to be a singer and no one's going to stop me. And we were little. But we were both a part of a choir, and the choir teachers are so important, let me just tell you, because they're either motivating or they can leave you with a lot of issues. But she told me when I was younger that girls don't sing like that about my voice. No, that's too deep. So I had to develop this like falsetto, this higher...
kind of polish it out, smooth it out a little.
Yeah. Well, it was it's still your voice, but it wasn't it was where I was, the falsetto, that higher register. Yeah. And so I worked on that because being a tenor, which I call myself proudly, although I guess you're supposed to say contralto. But so I'm like, I want to be with the boys. Like that's where my voice feels the most comfortable, in that tenor sound. And she was like, no, that's wrong. Girls don't sing that way. And I held it in and then went to the restroom and cried my eyes out, But my friend at the time, she's the one that said, these are who you want to listen to. These are. She was young. I'm like, my goodness. She'd been here before, apparently. But she told me about Tina Turner. She told me Cassandra Wilson, Tracy Chapman, Nina Simone, and all these women that had these, and she said, there's famous, talented women that want to have a deep register. Like they try to work on having that deep register. You should be proud of it. And I'll never forget that. But that was a turning point for me. And then I just actually started listening to these women. And then Tina, it's not just the voice, because that voice, it's whatever was going on within her soul, within her spirit, that brought it out the way it did.
It's an experience with Tina, every song, right?
Yeah.
She brings so much of herself.
It's incredible. Just the tone, you just hear it all. You hear it all. And so it just moves me every single time. And then of course the performance, and I don't do all the dancing and whatnot, but It's just an experience. But her, Tracy Chapman, the idea of that singer-songwriter and the type of music that she created just has always stuck with me from little till now. I'm so moved by her. But yeah, I would say between Tina and Tracy, those are like my top.
I gotta say, they're good picks. They're good picks. I think also one thing about them is breaking out the box as well. Like what you said about like with yourself being put in a certain box, and for them it was like, well, no, she put rock into it, which was very sort of revolutionary at that time.
Absolutely.
as well as such a soulful voice, and she had the poppy, catchy refrains and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. And that's also it. And I'm glad you brought it up, because that is a part of me that feels because we tend to be like, you have to fit. You have to fit. And I love those two women specifically because it wasn't about fitting. It was about expansion and saying, well, I'm not R&B, I'm not gospel, I'm not, what traditionally should be the thing, right? She's like, no, I'm rock. And, and Tracy's like, and I'm like folk. I don't know, where do you place her? She's so just, but it wasn't, it
wasn't contrived, was it? Right?
It wasn't. It was
amazing.
Not,
I think it's time for us to take another little listen to another of your songs. This one is called I'm the Reason.
Yes.
Why don't you give us a little intro into that before we take a listen?
So I'm the Reason. This was about really having to do that deep soul search. And, when I get ready to perform it, I always say this is my apology to the good guys. Because when you look at your relationships and you look at the patterns, and there's so many guys that are always like, women don't want a good guy. They really don't, and I've had my heart broken, and, they go after these bad boys. And, I can't keep kind of looking at that and going, no, you're wrong. We want good guys, when there's so many of us, including myself. And I look at friends and friends of friends, and I go, yeah, we're not picking the way that should be, to honor ourselves. And I realized when I had to dig deep with that and go, because I wasn't fully at that loving myself. Because when you have that full, complete love, your choices change. They do. So that was me saying, I apologize.
So here we go. This is Nandi55's song, I'm the Reason.
You drew my breath when I came home. You rubbed my feet when my days were long. You cooked, you cleaned, you gave me all of you, all of you. I'm the reason why good guys finish last. I'm the reason why you ain't got to ask. I'm the reason why good guys finish last. I'm the reason, the only reason why. Oh, I know you wanted me. I know I'm all you need. You said you want a family. On one knee you gave me a ring. My life's been pain and confusion. Happiness is just an illusion. This is all I see. You're just too good to be true for me. I'm the reason why good guys finish last. I'm the reason why you ain't got to ask. I'm the reason why good guys finish last. I'm the reason, eludes me. Your love for me is unsettling. Treat me bad, baby. Hell, be unfaithful, darling. That makes me comfortable. That's the love I know. I'm the reason why good guys finish last. I'm the reason why you ain't got to ask. I'm the reason why good guys finish last. I'm the reason, the only reason. I'm the reason why. I'm the reason why. I'm the reason why. I'm the reason, the only reason why. Oh.
The Alpha Sessions.
So that was I'm the Reason. And as you said, apology to the good guys.
Yeah.
I love the self-awareness and
Yeah.
accountability.
Yes.
You know, that's commendable. Not often the case. Is that important to you also, to show sort of the warts and all and to kind of take ownership
Yeah.
of, you know, your role sometimes in in those scenarios?
It's been a lot of therapy. But the reality is that I can't not grow, right? You have to, the goal is to get better and better and better and grow and evolve. And someone said, okay, about if you think the same at 20 that you do at 50 or 60, then you just wasted your life. You know what I mean? And so I'm just always about how do I how do I grow? How do I evolve from some of the situations? And you have to go in. You have to be accountable. You really do. Because it's not always the other person. And even when it is, there's still a role that you played. I entertained it, right? I could have went somewhere else. We didn't have to be in that relationship. I could have saw it coming, but I wasn't in a place yet, to see it. So
we've spoken quite a lot about like self-love and the importance of that. And that's kind of part of your mission as well.
Absolutely.
With your music and generally your songs. You've created a community aside from your own artistry. I Am Blues Folk.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I Am Blues Folk. The first thing was after losing my dad, I just started traveling, and I thought in the travels, wouldn't it be cool if I interviewed artists where I went and just to see, what their thoughts were about different things and being an artist. And so that turned into kind of this global community of artists. And moving here now, I went, well, I want to find a community where I can go. And it's not about performing. It's not performative. It's actually, you know what? I had a terrible day. Just
to vent and
to let it out, but also to just kind of figure out how to start taking back control, right? What are those things? So, for instance, we're on the 4 agreements right now, which is
I love that.
The artist circle. That's out of I Am Blues Folk, and so it happens every Sunday. And so, the first one was, be impeccable with your word, right? So it's about putting on us this idea of what things can we do to make things better within our own lives. There's a lot of things that we do that we're not seeing, that we're making things harder for ourselves. So it is about giving artists a voice. But part of that leads into the self-love piece, right? Because so many of us have been stopped, have been cut off from being able to be our true selves, be able to express ourselves in the way that we want. So I Am Blues Folk was also a part of that. How do I create a safe space where artists can it's not about being on stage, but what happens after.
But that's so important, I think. All the stuff that happens around that, being strong in yourself, especially I think now with social media and like we said, judgment is, everyone will give you their opinion, whether you ask for it or not.
Absolutely.
And depending on where you are with your own self-love and your own belief in yourself, that can derail you if you're not strong enough in that moment. And these communities like yours, I Am Blues Folk, can, I think, be the difference between continuing pursuing on your path and actually, unfortunately, listening sometimes to the naysayers and the ones that are trying to sort of drag you off.
And you need that
the
support.
path.
You really do need that support.
And with people that get you, because I think
Yeah.
artists understand what we're going through. Sometimes
Yeah.
if you speak to someone who isn't that way inclined or hasn't pursued it in that way, won't always understand that it's like within you live, breathe it, right?
Yeah. And then finding a way to understand that you are you and then you are also an artist.
Yeah.
Right? So to be able to
So
talk
it's not
about
completely tied with your identity, because that is also, I think,
Exactly.
it's, I know, like when I get the flu and lose my voice, it's like a freak out because our art is so intrinsically part of us.
Yes.
But we are a person outside of that.
Yeah, who am I off the stage is just as important. And we've seen people crashing and burning, right? We know that happens because they have not taken care of their inner self. They're just performing all the time and not doing the self-care and the self-love. So that's just as important.
Amazing. Where can our listeners find out about I Am Blues Folk and get involved?
Instagram is I Am Blues Folk. Everything is I Am Blues Folk on the different platforms. That's where you can find me. And Instagram is the hub. So you'll see all the links there. That'll take you to Patreon, Linktree, everything. And so, just I Am Blues Folk.
Now, we've been talking about, being your authentic self, believing in yourself, not listening to the naysayers. Let's take a listen to your third song now,
Ooh.
Can't Nobody.
All right. Hey. Yes. That's it. Sounds so good, don't you agree? Listen. So you say I ain't gonna make it. The hell you say I ain't gonna take it anymore. I'm doing my thing, knocking down these doors. You knocking my dreams, cause you gave up yours. Just cause you can't look at your own reflection, don't mean that I am headed in the wrong direction. Just cause you ain't doing what you should, don't mean that I'm gonna stop doing good. Can't nobody hold me down. I'm moving with or without you to higher ground. And I don't need you or them or anybody else. Just open up the door and I'll get it myself. I've always tried my best to please you, going out of my mind, trying to do everything you do, but I can't be nothing but myself. So stop trying to turn me into somebody else. You need to give me the chance to grow. You lived your life now, it's time to let me go. It was you that taught me I could be anything. I know you're scared, but ain't no fear in me. Can't nobody hold me down. I'm moving with or without you to higher ground. And I don't need you or them or anybody else. Just open up the door and I'll get it myself. I used to let the things you said get in my head, 'cause I didn't believe in me. Now, but I'm not gonna let your jealousy and envy be in the way of my destiny. Can't nobody hold me down. I'm moving with or without you to higher ground. And I don't need you or them or anybody else. Just open up the door and I'll get it myself. Hey, can't nobody hold me down. I'm moving on to higher ground. And I don't need you with them or anybody else. Just open up the door and I'll get it myself.
The Alpha Sessions.
Now that song, championing the underdog, love it.
Yeah.
What got you to write that song? What was behind that? A lot of experiences.
A lot of collective experiences, and each, if you're really listening, each verse, even the bridge, is a different experience of having to deal with, being strong in yourself. And so, yeah, those were personal experiences. It's like go from romantic to parents to friends or frenemies, I guess
you can hear it in the
call
song
them.
though. You can
Yeah.
feel, because even though obviously it's like a real strong song, there's some like pain in there.
Oh,
There's,
for sure. It's all
kind of
pain.
simmering, yeah.
And it can all be pain, and that's what I was saying. For me, that whole concept of loving yourself, it's because it's also, please, because I want you to be able to love me. So much of the you can't make it, you can't do it, or the people, the haters or the whatever, it's just because of their own stuff that they have going on. And so that's why I'm always like, deal with it, deal with your stuff. So that you're not spouting out what someone else can't do.
Yeah.
And I always say before performing the song, it's not just about artists though. Anyone that has a goal, anyone that has something that they're trying to pursue, don't listen, don't, find that inner strength.
You've got to back yourself.
Yeah, you have to. And I'll tell you
You're
what.
your number one cheerleader.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, it wasn't until I truly believed in myself that I was like, I'm just putting my foot down and I'm saying, this is who I am. That's actually when people started going, oh, that's who you are.
Yeah.
When you say it and you really affirm it and you really truly mean it, no, I'm an artist. No, I'm a this, or I'm... People
You
go,
set the description of what you are,
right,
rather than allow someone else
right.
to
define
determine
yourself.
It. Yeah.
Absolutely.
How do you keep your cup full then? How do you keep that self belief?
Yeah.
On the because we all have our down days. And
For
stuff
sure.
Like that.
For sure.
How do you do that?
If I'm honest, there's I've woke up and I've had some crazy experiences right out the gate and went, I'm not doing today. Nope. Not gonna happen. I'm laying back down. Now, you don't always, you can't always do that, but I have done that before. Other things that I do is that I have my little mantras, my little whatever, my little daily motivations. I have my journaling, and I always actually try to just stay appreciative. That's the other thing. That's the number one. Even for yourself, I think that's how you get into self-love too. It's like appreciating. I appreciate my fingers. I appreciate my toes. I appreciate, because there's people that just even pulling in today, I said that to Craig, my amazing guitar player.
Gotta give props. Gotta give props.
Oh
to
my
guitarist.
God, I can't believe I found him. He is a godsend. He's amazing, Craig. Thank you. But I was saying to him, even where we're parking right now, we were going, oh God, there's no parking. But then we thought about where we were and went, but there's an appreciation in the fact that we're not coming to, you know what I mean? Like there could be a different circumstance into why we're here, and I'm like, well, we're here to actually perform and to have this amazing interview. There's so much from the littlest to the biggest things that we can be appreciative for. So they can't occupy the same space, like the anger or the fear or the whatever, if you're staying I'm just appreciative. There's people that didn't wake up today, right? I mean, that's how real it gets.
Getting your perspective on point. Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of future plans, Nandi55, what's coming up for you? Because we're at the tail end. Actually, a two-part question. So we're going to get into that. But I want to know we're coming to the end of 2024. What's been your biggest lesson this year, biggest takeaway? And also then getting into 2025, what are your plans? What's coming up for you?
Okay, so my biggest lesson for 2024 has definitely been that I can actually create the life I want. I think people really think that's a far-fetched idea, but you can really actually say, writing it down. And I feel like a lot of things that I called in this year happened for me because I was very clear. Like, this is what I want. And I was just feeling like it was going to come. And some things I just wasn't worried about it because I really believed it could happen. So that was my biggest lesson this year, is that I can create the life that I want for myself. It's still a work in progress, but it's coming along very well. For next year, what's happening in the works? Well, so for next year, I'm still going to be doing a lot of performing. I want to try to grab hold of a residency where, people can actually start coming to one place to see me. That would be great.
Wonderful.
And also do some, performing at other places. But I would love to have kind of a home somewhere. That would be great. And recording.
That's the next biggie.
EP, yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been so
Oh my
cool.
goodness. Before we close today's interview, just if you want to run through again where our listeners can find out all the very latest on you, on your music, and get connected.
Yes, so Nandi55 here. And the first place I would say to support and to find out more would be Instagram. I am Blues Folk, and blues like the music, folk like the people. So I am Blues Folk on Instagram. And then from there, you see the click on Linktree. Everything will come up, from videos to YouTube to, you'll find it. Instagram is the hub. And what's really cool is that I am actually on Patreon. And so I do a lot of clips on Instagram, but on Patreon as a member, that's a step, further that you can do to support me as an artist. That's where everything lives. Everything lives there. My tunnel tunes that I do once a month, and Artist Circle, and all the I Am Blues Folk things that we're doing, and all of my performances in totality. You can really just, there's more clips that happen on Instagram.
Definitely, and there's some amazing covers you've done as well as your original songs. So I definitely recommend you checking it out. Thank you so much. It's been amazing, and I just want to wish you all the very best with your performing, and bring on the EP.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Thank
you for having me.
Thank you.
The Alpha Sessions.